Welcome to MindshareTV. Happy Friday, where we explore innovation, leadership, and learning in education. I'm your host, Robert Martellacci, Mindshare Learning Media. And today we have a special final sneak peek of the STAO 2025 conference happening November 27th. Ignore the kids in the background. We're in a shopping mall co-working space at the Sheraton Parkway Toronto. Joining me are two incredible guests, Nathalie, Executive Director of the STAO conference, who's been organization leading the charge behind this year's inspiring program, and Joseph Khargie, who is from GoCreateIt and will be delivering one of the most must-see sessions entitled Igniting Curiosity from Content to Connection. We're going to explore what makes STAO 2025 so special, from the big picture to the classroom level, and why educators across Ontario should be excited to attend. Thank you for joining me, Nathalie and Khargie. Joseph.
Pleasure.
It's good to be here.
Nathalie, welcome back to the show. STAO has been such a rich history of empowering science educators. I've been attending for a very long time. I met one of our astronauts who's going to space in just a year from now, I believe, at STAO. What's the vision for this year's conference? Thank you for joining us, being a partner, a valued partner of our recent Canadian EdTech AI Summit. How does it reflect where science and STEM education are heading?
Well, I think, first of all, thank you for having us. And we're really excited to be bringing back the STAO conference. We've been without our two-day conference for over 7 years. So this is our first foray back into the two-day conference world. So we're really excited to be bringing close to 450 educators from across Ontario together next week.
Awesome.
For what is going to be an awesome two-day event. The theme this year is Inspiring the Future of STEM. And I think that, when we look around us on a daily basis and we see that, there isn't going to be a career out there where students don't need to have some sort of understanding of science, technology, engineering, mathematics, or just to be excited about it, to function in society, but also for careers and for their futures. So we're really excited to bring together a program that's going to hopefully inspire teachers and get them thinking about the possibilities for their classroom, for their students, and how they can make STEM just part of everyday teaching and part of everyday life, because it's such an exciting topic.
Fascinating. It feels like the conference has really evolved to meet educators where they are in an era of digital change and rapid shifts in pedagogy, the advent of AI being the rage right now. How does STAO ensure a balance between tradition and innovation, and that remains strong?
Well, I think the renewal of the elementary curriculum brought along some really exciting changes in the STEM field. So the integration of coding, and some of the new emerging technologies like AI and things like that are being, more and more in demand and more easily accessible for our students and our teachers, I think really have, forced STAO to shift a little bit to be a bit more non-traditional in terms of adjusting our program to make sure that those curriculum expectations are being met. But we also value, good old science. So we value the traditional hands-on activities that you do with students, to engage them in optics, to engage them in the biology labs, the chemistry labs, focus on, just safety. How can we do hands-on things? It doesn't matter what the topic is, but doing it safely for students. So STAO tries to find that balance with, bringing in our experts. We've got a lot of very, very experienced teachers bringing in their firsthand experience in the classroom, sharing their ideas, their lesson plans, what's worked in their classrooms. And I think that's what the power of STAO is that we sort of dabble in the new, but we also bring together the really experienced teachers who have done it time and time again successfully and inspired their students to go on to successful careers.
And you have so many remarkable and passionate STEM educators that I've known for years and years. I know I look a lot younger than I am, but my career spans like 4 decades now. So I've met many along the way who have been so inspirational. And can I say career pathways? Like, if I was to do this all over again, we sponsor FRC 1325, First Robotics Team, and I got to tour one of the Challenger jet manufacturing facility where they practice, I would have done something totally different had I had that opportunity back in the day. So I'm a big fan of career pathways. My daughter, girls in STEM, my daughter's in cybersecurity. Cybersecurity, people. If you're listening out there, girls, parents, encourage your kids to go into STEM because there's some great career opportunities that AI cannot eliminate, right? There's hands on, it could be augmented, but it's not going to eliminate certain jobs, right? And you have to be mindful of that. Thoughts on that?
I absolutely think you're right. I think that, the biggest thing our students need and our children need is creative thinking, creativity, and that resilience to continue and persevere and to follow their passion. And so as science teachers and STEM teachers and any educators, that's our role, is to equip the kids with those tools. So, there's so much more. I mean, I agree with you. I look at all the options today and I go, gee, I didn't really have many choices when I was, coming out of high school, but now there's so many fascinating fields and boundaries, like, explore, like we have somebody coming to talk, Hope Mcrulo from the Canadian Space Agency, talking about Canada's role in mission to the moon.
Right.
So
like, fascinating
things that we never thought of when we were children. So,
and it's not a direct path either, career pathways, because you make pivots along the way. I was in sport management, and I pivoted to running a business alliance at the university. Then I pivoted to EdTech. So, and like yourself, you pivoted outside of teaching into something that's relatable. So I think career counselors need to understand that they need to convey, you need to start with a base, find your passion practically, right? Because you need to make a living, and then pursue it with vigor, and then explore, right? I think that's kind of been my mindset, and my kids have gone on to thrive that way as well. Further thoughts on that before we segue over to Joseph?
I agree 100%. I think that flexibility, that, again, that creativity, that ability to think outside the box, that really, if you can dream it, I think we're now in a world where if you can dream it, you can try and pursue it, because there are the tools, the technologies, the pathways to do that. So I hope that, we can inspire our students, our future students, to do that as well for them.
And I presume there will be students in attendance as well, no doubt.
We have a few, but not too many, because, it is during the school day, so we want them in class. So we haven't quite expanded our programming to include students, but we do have a couple of students that are coming to help support some of the presentations there. So, but we know that we have students helping us out, getting us in.
Well,
so
and that's great.
We're really excited to help them along too.
We have co-op students here all year long, and it's, and when you give them agency, they just thrive, right? So before we go over to Joseph, I'm going to surprise you with your website, and let's have a quick sneak peek at, and share with our audience what's in store from a kind of a 30,000-foot view.
Perfect. Well, so STAO Celebrates is the theme this year. We are really excited.
I see Logix there. Logix was a great partner.
Logix and Wayground are some of our gold sponsors and playground
Tech Company of the Year. They won that Tech Company of the Year at our summit.
Yeah, they're hosting our STAO playground. So they have a large interactive booth at the playground, and there will be STAO. We have some elementary activities, secondary activities hosted by our STAO volunteers. And then we have interactive sessions throughout the day hosted by a variety of our different either exhibitors or workshop host teachers who are bringing in hands-on activities to basically play. So the idea of the session is you're going to learn, but you're going to be doing something. They're not sit and get sessions. So that's really exciting for us, happening throughout the day. So that will happen both Thursday and Friday during the day. And then we have a number of featured speakers and keynotes who we're really excited about. On Thursday, our focus during the day, our keynote speaker is Nimki Brad Howie, who's from Nipissing First Nation, and he's going to be speaking about Indigenous ways of knowing and how to incorporate Indigenous ways of knowing into our science curriculum. So from a very, respectful and entry-level approach to try and, show people how it can be done in a good way. And he's also actually speaking in the afternoon for connections to the grade 9 science curriculum. So we're really excited about that as well. We have Joseph, who you're going to hear from in a minute. He's speaking Thursday evening. So we also have a Thursday evening program from 6 to 9 for those teachers who can't get release time and who can't get out of the school during the day. And we're actually going to be opening up, so just watch our social media, because we're going to be opening up the exhibit hall from 4:30 to 6:30 for any teachers who can't come to conference, so they can't sign up for sessions, but want to come and see our exhibitors. And so they can come into the exhibit hall between 4:30 and 6:30.
What a great idea.
Register so we can
very inclusive. I love it.
Yeah. We just need them to register so we can keep track for fire regulations, so that we know how many people to expect. And then those people that want a ticket to attend sessions can stay in the evening from 6 to 9 for a couple of sessions with Joseph as our feature. And then on Friday, we have Dan Riskin. Dan
Riskin, I hear him on the radio all the time.
Yep. And he's coming to us to talk about AI and curiosity and the role that science teachers have to play in fostering that curiosity and ensuring that students are, engaged and sort of making some science connections. I think it's going to be a really fun presentation and very inspiring. So we're really excited to have him on the Friday morning. And then we have somebody coming to talk, Geneviève Allaire-Duquette, coming to talk to us about the science of learning science. So how the brain works in terms of learning scientific concepts and how we get stuck on those misconceptions and how we can unlearn those misconceptions in science. So, why do we think that, if we think the earth is flat, like what makes us think that? And then what has to happen for us to actually unlearn sort of the things that we generally observe? So really excited about her presentation. She's doing it in both French and English for our French participants. So we also have an entire French stream happening for our Francophone educators across Ontario.
Brilliant. Well, kudos for being even more inclusive than I thought. That's awesome.
And then our last one, that's just highlighted on this page, is Laurie Rousseau-Nepton. She's an Innu astronomer. She studies archaeoastronomy. She's got a PhD in astrophysics, working at the U of T, and she's coming to talk about her 100 generations principle, sort of talking about how she incorporates her culture into her astronomy and the work that she does. So we're really, really excited to have her speaking as well on the Friday morning. And then there's hundreds of other sessions, there's over 100 other sessions from experienced educators from all over Ontario coming in for the rest of the day.
Kudos to you for all your hard work in putting this together, because I know what conference planning is like. I've been there, done that many times, and I just had a little vacation getaway, which I was badly needing. So hopefully you'll be able to do the same when it's over, enormously successful and over. With that, I'm going to pivot over to Joseph. So, Joseph, welcome again. Our featured presenter today, Joseph Khargie from GoCreateIt. Joseph, your session, Igniting Curiosity from Content to Connection, has already been getting a buzz, and for good reasons. Welcome. Talk to me a little bit about the inspiration and why is curiosity the lever you've chosen to focus on? What do you see happening in classrooms today that makes such an urgent topic?
Well, pleasure to be here. I'm super excited to speak at the STAO conference this coming Thursday. And Nathalie's been doing tremendous work behind the scenes and making it all come together. So I can't wait to see it all come together and celebrate with you also after it's successful. So speaking about what I'm about to embark on, my little journey there, curiosity is really what fuels learning. It motivates us to explore and discover. And, many students are distracted nowadays and they're cruising kind of like on autopilot with AI just to get through the learning. And it's because it does not sit well with them. It doesn't relate in their world. They don't see it in their reality. And so being able to piece the curiosity to that helps them more see the aha moments. And as educators, we definitely got to, look a little closer and try a little harder to get those students involved.
Thank you for that. From your organization, empower students to move from consuming to creating, and which I love. I think the most important learning happens when you're the creator. And how can educators practically make that shift, especially in systems that are heavily assessment driven?
Absolutely. I'm a big fan of assessments still. I think they're very important, but they have to come in all shapes and sizes. There has to be a connection and a purpose to your class. Now, I'm not just talking about it being math class or science class, and the end goal is good grades. For the students to take accountability, for them to participate, for them to show up excited to learn from you, there has to be something that is like the glue or the lubrication in between the gears. You know what I mean? To get them, if you're in high school, get them coming for that whole semester and totally into it. Or if you're in middle school or primary, it's a journey that you're on and you're seeing these students. And as the educator, you should put something to that, some goal, whether it's a class event that they execute at the end of the year, whether it's a mural that could be painted, or something that's actually going to get built. There's purpose to the education that they're getting, and it's a real world experience. And I know that will take a little bit more time than over the summer to prepare for your new classes and to do that. But I found in classes that I've ran and also programs that I create, creating these experiences and going the extra mile keeps kids involved and staying with you to the very end, and it shows up in those grades.
Well said. Now, innovation can feel like it's for the privileged, schools with devices and big budgets. How do you make creativity and curiosity equitable experiences for every student, regardless of resources?
It could definitely seem like a privilege, but innovation to me is just more than technology. It's how you improve services, processes, business models, and just how people work together. Getting kids in a charitable mindset. This is thinking outside the box once again, and working in their communities is super underrated these days. I see it when kids are in grade 12 and they're about to graduate, or they're in grade 11, they're in their senior years, and they have 10 hours to their community service hours, and they need 40. So it's telling that, the empowerment through community and those learning experiences that come outside of technology and are found with the superstars inside the community. And if the schools are open and welcoming to those local superstars, I feel that and I've seen it, practical experiences are shared, and it's repaid in tenfold. Whether someone knows someone that works at IBM, or computers will get donated, or iPads, or something that you need to take your experience over the top. But it starts with just working with what you have. And I think, we open up to those communities. I definitely have seen it before.
Well said. So so it's Friday. I'm going to throw a tough question at you here. Let's face it. We're teaching in the age of AI, instant answers, AI inspired, assignments and shrinking attention spans. How do you help teachers harness these realities rather than fight them? Because there is a lot of resistance. I'm constantly hearing about the resistance, not unlike when the internet came along. This is really about digital transformation, right? This movie's replayed itself over and over and over.
Yeah.
Over to you.
And as a creative, I use AI as my assistant. I'm sure many teachers use AI as their assistant. And there's no escaping that, even though you could see in the marks that in the marking that you get, very similar things, the icons and how Chat GPT would kind of spit out those details. I think it's the emotional intelligence that teachers should play on more and more, getting the student to speak as a human, not just answering the question, but you in that powerful position, the student being put in that position. What would you do? How do you create a good scaling, manageable business that's contributing? Don't just spit out a business plan that you got of ChatGPT. It's more the questions as a teacher that you're going to ask. And I think, looking at that, the teacher can also look at that student and say, okay, in the future, as this student, do I want to pass them in the grocery store? Am I avoiding them when I see them in the grocery store? Or am I having a conversation with them? Or are they avoiding me?
Right.
You see them, that student in the grocery store, are they holding a child's hand? They're all grown up now. They're not that student that you thought you knew. Are they happy? Do they have the career that they said they were going after? Those little conversations. But I think it starts with the first developing that emotional intelligence, because that's something AI cannot beat us on.
Well said. It's a good segue to the next question. Your session title also emphasizes connection. And we talk about human connection. Of human-centered learning was the part of the theme of our summit. Can you give us a sneak peek into what participants will actually do? Is there a moment of hands-on creation and typically sparks an aha shift in how teachers think about learning?
Yes, I hope so. Everything we do as educators needs to be relatable, and we want to find that connections, because that produces those aha moments. During my talk, Igniting Curiosity, we are going to focus on a new experience that I'm actually bringing, currently developing. It's almost finalized, fully baked, but we're going to be focusing on something I call 10 out of STEM. So this is mixing basketball with math and science. Now, there is engineering and technology involved in that, in the curriculum that we're providing with that. But teachers are going to be taking some free throws. I need some brave teachers that are going to be out there, not too shy, not embarrassed to miss, but you're going to be taking these free throws. This is a live science experiment. All right. These free throws will be taken under different conditions. Right. And this will be relatable to students seeing, if you're into sports, but whether you're in sports or not, it is an equitable opportunity that you can change into soccer, or you could change into hockey, or you can just do right in your classroom. You don't even need to use gym space. All right.
That's awesome.
So students will be.
I just played hockey at lunchtime on the faculty team at York, and
there you go.
It's can you throw in some hockey? I'll bring my hockey stick and we'll do some shots. And there's a lot of science behind sport, and I think it's a great way to engage kids. I know SIACM, there's an initiative with the SIACM and other organizations. Dell has been very involved in that and promoting girls in STEM as well. So last question, toughest question, finally here. So if an educator is listening right now and is on the fence about registering for STAO, why should they come and make this trip to Markham?
Every night at 10 p.m., I look at my phone for the time and realize it's only 5 p.m. because of this time difference and all the time change. STAO is about connection. What are you doing after school? It's getting dark. It looks depressing outside. Come for connection. For those teachers that may not be able to come during the day, where we're at on Thursday. But for the teachers that are looking for the overall experience, as Nathalie said, there's hundreds of opportunities being presented to you. And you can learn from people like me, and same way I could learn from you. Looking forward to connecting with you next week.
With that, thank you so much, Joseph, for your inspiring words. Nathalie, I'm so excited for what's to come. Any final thoughts, Nathalie, on STAO? And 1 week from now, you'll be in your final day. How does that feel?
It feels great. And I think the best part of it is the connections, again, going back to those connections that we've made. So whether it's working with you, Robert, as part of the EdTech Summit and being a partner and meeting all the wonderful people that we've had a chance to connect with through your events and through other events across the province. I think, connection is what is missing and what's been missing very much since COVID. And so I think there's definitely a need for connecting. And we're really excited to be able to bring science teachers back together again to help connect them with our STEM partners, our STEM providers, with people like Joseph, to sort of see and consider their practice and think about things in a different way, and maybe find different opportunities, get them excited, keep them passionate, keep them inspired, because we know teaching is a very tiring job. It's a thankless job at times, because, it's the one where your audience is not always the most willing. They're there because they have to be there, not because they want to be there. And so sometimes it does take a toll on mental health. It does take a toll on, people's perception. And so getting together, connecting, sharing stories, learning from each other, and being re-inspired and reinvigorated. I know every time I've gone to a STAO event when I was a teacher, I've always gone back to the classroom the next day filled with more inspiration and excitement, new ideas, and sort of just that boost to get me through November and December, because those are long months in teaching.
With that, well, that's our final sneak peek of STAO 2025 conference happening November 27th and 28th at the Sheraton Parkway Toronto North Hotel and Suites. A huge thank you to Nathalie Rudner, Executive Director of STAO, and Joseph Khargie of GoCreateIt for sharing your insights and inspiration. If you haven't already registered, visit stao.ca and join hundreds of passionate science educators reimagining curiosity and connection in the classrooms across Ontario and beyond. I'm Robert Martellacci of the Mindshare Learning Report, and this is MindshareTV. And until next time, keep learning, keep creating, stay healthy, stay safe, and keep the learning curve steep.